Hello, Mrs. Showman, and anyone else watching this. This is my creative project for the Holocaust Museum, so let's get into it. Uh, for starters, my location, I chose Charleston. I chose Charleston because it has the highest Jewish population in the state of South Carolina. Obviously, this museum is not just for Jewish people, but Jewish people were the main point and the main people and the victims involved with the Holocaust, so I felt like the place with the most Jewish people should be the area where my museum should be. Through some research, I learned that Charleston has a population of 6,000 Jewish people, and they have 300 years of Jewish history and heritage wrapped into the area, so I felt that it was a good spot. Charleston's also the most highly populated area in the state, so the more people there are, the more people that will be able to visit this museum. So I feel like just the place with the most people should be the place where we have our first and only Holocaust museum to date. Charleston's also a heavy tourist area, so people from around the state and people from around the country who come to visit Charleston will have access to this museum. So I felt like the foot traffic and just the people being there in general made this the perfect spot for my museum. Some features of the museum. So most museums are roughly, I did some research, they're roughly 25,000, 30,000 square feet. Since this is the only to date Holocaust museum in the state, I felt that it should be a little bit bigger. So I said about 35,000 square feet. For the design of this museum, I would like a brick exterior, which kind of resembles the brick exterior of the camps of Auschwitz and of all the other concentration camps. And I would like a modern interior, which kind of is reminiscent to how, although this happened so long ago, that's still a modern concept, and we still should be talking about it today. And also, most museums are modern in general. And this is a new museum, so I felt like modern design was fitting. Most importantly, for the atmosphere of this museum, I would like it to be a welcoming environment, but I would also like it to be quiet and be able to honor this event. I would like no cell phones, maybe a place where you could put cell phones at the front, and then you get them back at the end, just to make the environment suitable and just not ruin the experience for everybody. Because I know people like to take pictures and whatnot, but I feel like no cell phones is the best way to truly keep a good atmosphere and the atmosphere that I want for this museum. So let's get into the exhibits. To start, I chose Anne Frank Memorial Room. Anne Frank is often thought of to be the poster child of the Holocaust itself, and a lot of people, if you know the Holocaust, you know Anne Frank. It's a big story, so I felt like this was a good room to start with. For this room, I'd like it to kind of be a two-part room, which you'll see when I show you the design of the entire layout. I would like an attic, a part where it shows it's a replica of the attic. I know a lot of museums have that, like what I displayed in the picture here, just something that how people so people can kind of see what it might have looked, what it looked like, and the conditions that they lived in. So I would like that, and I would like another room that is dedicated to Anne Frank and the other people in the story. Anne Frank's obviously very notable, but there were still other people there like Meep and Peter and Otto, and I would like memorials for all of them. So my design for this room, I would like excerpts from the Anne Frank diary on the wall, just so people can read that, and I would like an Anne Frank memorial statue in the middle with some information about her and just a way to remember her. And I would also like memorials to all the other people in the story because they were just as much a part of it, although they didn't write the diary. They lived in the room. They had to go through this as well, and I feel like it's right to give them their honor and their remember them. So I feel like that's essential for this room. And I thought it'd be a cool idea with how AI is now, if we could maybe try to figure out a way to make AI to have Anne Frank's voice reading parts of her book, so you can kind of visualize what Anne Frank might have sounded like, and I feel like it'd be a good way to honor her and honor her story. For my next room, this room is going to be a more graphic room, maybe not as suitable for kids, but I feel like it's important to show the brutalities of the camp. For this room, I would like it to kind of be a 360 wraparound with pictures displaying of just the brutalities of the camps. We've seen a lot of pictures in class, and a lot of pictures I'm showing in this slide, something like that. Just pictures of the various cuts, the malnourished workers and the dead bodies stacked upon each other, just to kind of show how truly horrific these events were, and to put it into a perspective, just so people can like see and visualize these pictures, because this was a very brutal event, and I would like people to just be able to see pictures from this time period, just so they can visualize what it might have looked like and just the horrific conditions that were in there. And I would like to keep this room to be like an eerie feel, very unsettling like the Holocaust was. So I would like these pictures, and I would like to add some sounds of guards yelling and dogs barking, just to set the scene of just how eerie and unsettling that these camps were. For my next room, I would like this to be a relics room. So this room will have a bunch of artifacts from the Holocaust itself. I'm not really sure what we could get for this room, but some ideas that I had was maybe like some bricks from Auschwitz, or some of the children's toys. We've seen a lot of pictures of these. This is children's toys of bricks. some excerpts from real letters, real paper, real diaries, and just like some real piece of paper, something people can look at and see that this was a part of the Holocaust. This is a big thing. Some of the concentration camp uniforms, we get our hands on those. I think that'd be great to see the conditions that they were living in, just the things they had to wear every day, and some empty gas cartridges, which it just shows a lot of the Holocaust, and it kind of puts it in perspective when you see these things that actually were there, and it allows people to again visualize the events and really just put two and two together and really see what it was like for these people in this obviously in these camps and in this horrific environment. For my next room, I call it the "those who got away" room, but I put it in quotes, obviously, because even though these people technically weren't in the camps, they definitely did not get away. Because when people think about the Holocaust, all they think about is usually just the camps and the horrific atrocities in those. But I would like to remember the people who were able to get out of the camps and avoid the camps, but who still had to go through the effects of the Holocaust. So kind of like the Kinder transport kids and those who were able to flee, and the people from the Schindler's List office. I would like them to be memorialized in this room. So for this room, I would like to show some of the letters we talked about in class, some of the letters from the parents to the children on the Kinder transport. With these kids could never see their parents again. They didn't even get to see any of their relatives ever again. So they definitely went through the Holocaust. They weren't in the camps. They definitely went through it. And I'd like to remember them. I would like to show some letters of family members and friends who fled, just to put into perspective that although they weren't in the camps, they lost people and they still suffered. And I would also like to memorialize some of the people that helped these people get away, like we talked about in class, Sir Nicholas Winton, who orchestrated the Kinder transport for these kids, and Oskar Schindler, who we watched in the movie and in class, who helped so many Jews escape. And I feel like it would be good to memorialize these people and much more that helped the people get out of these camps and get into safety. So I feel like this room is very important, just to show that even though they weren't technically in the camps, they still suffered, and I feel like it'd be good to memorialize them. So maybe some statues of Nicholas Winton and Oskar Schindler and letters, and I feel like this would help to truly memorialize and honor these people who went through this as well. For my next room, I came up with the idea to make it a simulation room. This is more geared towards kids and other people, I guess, who are more visual learners, who are more interactive learners. A lot of people will see these clips and see these pictures and see all the relics and still won't truly grasp the atrocities of the Holocaust itself. So this simulation room will help these people they can see it through a simulation. They can essentially live the life of a kid in the Holocaust who starts in the ghettos, moves by train to the concentration camps themselves, and then life in the concentration camps. And since I'm kind of gearing it towards kids, I would like it to be a little less graphic, but I would still like to be very realistic. And so we'll have machines set up that'll allow us to simulate these events and just all the different aspects of it. Obviously, we might have to cut out some of the atrocities, but keep it as realistic as possible, just so people can truly grasp and people can see in a first-person kind of way how these people lived, and really like hold on to it and grasp it. I feel like this is a way for some people who are more visual and more interactive learners to truly understand the atrocity of the Holocaust, and I feel like this will allow it to stick a little better for these people. So I feel like this is an important room. This room, you call it the Miss Showman room. This is a room about a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in class, but I feel like it's very important because a lot of people think of the Holocaust as something that happened so long ago, and that it's almost irrelevant to nowadays, which just isn't true at all. The Holocaust is still very, very popular and very, very intertwined with our pop culture today, and I feel like this room is dedicated to showing that. So it'll show kind of the stuff we watched in class, like Schindler's List and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I'd like there to be clips of those movies in this room, maybe some TVs that'll just show how this is depicted in the modern era and how people are still talking about it. And although it happened so long ago, it's still very, very intertwined with how we live today and how a lot of people feel today. Just this room will just be dedicated to just the modern aspects of the Holocaust, and it will show that it lives on and that these people live on and their stories live on. And it kind of explains the importance of the Holocaust. And it's a way for a lot of people, because I learned about the Holocaust through these movies, and I feel like a lot of people do. So I feel like it's an important way to show how people remember the Holocaust, and a way to kind of put it into perspective for a lot of people who have seen these movies and maybe haven't seen these movies. They can see that the Holocaust is still talked about. It's still very relevant in today's era, and I feel like this is an important room to just kind of show that. So for my next room, this is what I think is the coolest room and probably the most important room. This is going to be right in, smack in the middle of my museum. It's going to be the Memorial Garden, which I think this is a good way to keep the people in South Carolina who have a Jewish heritage, to allow them to honor their relatives. And so I would think that if you are a Jewish person, a person of Jewish heritage, who maybe had a family member who went through the Holocaust or maybe passed away because of the Holocaust, that you're allowed to remember them because of this. So through this garden, you can plant whatever you want, whatever you feel like resembles your family. Um, and you can also write the names of your relatives on the walls. And so that way that it lives on in infamy in this place. And it allows the people of South Carolina and the people all around the world who come to visit to remember their relatives and to do something that will be able to honor them. And I feel like that's important because it allows them to just connect with their heritage and allows them to maybe express something that they don't often get to express through a living object, a plant. And it allows them to just memorialize and honor their family members who went through this tragic event, and allows them to kind of connect with them and on a deeper level. And I feel like this is a very important room. This is the focal point of my museum. So I feel like this is very important. And yeah, that was my thought process behind this. And then for my last room, this is because of what I know from watching these movies and reading these books. I know that oftentimes I have to take a pause and just to really take in everything and really take a grasp over everything. So this is going to be my dedicated reflection space. It's going to be at the end of the tour. I would like there to be quiet rooms, rooms that I put up specifically just so that you can take some time to be with yourself and be with your thoughts and truly soak in all that you've seen in the museum itself. And with these quiet rooms, I would also have so quiet rooms are going to be, and you'll see in the layout that I'm about to show you. Uh, there will be quiet rooms, and there will also be a discussion area where people can ask the tour guide questions, stuff maybe that you didn't hear covered in the tour. You can ask them questions and really ask them about their experiences. And you can also connect with other people who went on the tour who maybe have similar backgrounds, similar stories to you. Because during the tour, I don't really want people to be talking very much. I would like them to be more focused on what is going on. But at the end of the tour, this is their chance to really talk and really express how they feel. And so obviously for the people who want to just soak in everything, they can sit in the quiet room and reflect. And for the people who have questions and want to talk to others about their experience and listen and hear about other people's experience, they can use these discussion rooms as a place to connect with others who may have similar heritage. And I feel like this is an important room to keep at the end, especially right before they leave, just so they can maybe connect and figure out what they have in common with these people and maybe make some connections. I feel like this is an important room. So this is I'm not an artist by any means, but was the sketch that I had of my layout in the first place. These are all the rooms. Again, not an artist by any means, but and this is an accident. Top corner says simulation room. That I guess I wrote it down twice. That should not be the simulation room. That is uh, be the modern depictions of the Holocaust room in the back right corner, which I guess I incorrectly put that there. But yeah, this is my general layout for the museum itself. And yeah. So just my lasting thoughts on this experience as a whole. Starting this project, I kind of assumed I'd be able to cover a bunch of bases and I'd be able to get everything in there, but there's just way too many stories and way too many things that happened during the Holocaust. Although I felt I did a good job trying to cover everything I could, obviously there's just so much that went on that I was in a little over my head and I couldn't cover everything. But I felt like I felt like I did a good job getting everything that I felt was needed to be in this project. Um, yeah. I also learned how different outlets like these visual and different hearing aids can allow this experience to truly hit some people. Again, with the simulation room, with all the visuals and everything, it allowed people to fully grasp these events. And I feel like this proposal itself does a good job connecting with children and adults alike. There are many aspects that allow for people of all understandings to understand the Holocaust, which I feel is very important for kids, especially, and adults as well, to truly grasp this event through different means. Um, and I was surprised with the amount of time I had to do. I thought this was kind of like something I could just throw together. It's definitely not. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of planning to figure out what I should include and what I shouldn't include. Obviously, there's so much that could be included and so much that could have been left out. But this is what I included, and this is what I felt fit. So um, that's how I feel. And I feel like I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for this project because coming up with this proposal has helped me to understand the Holocaust better than I thought I would from this project as a whole. Um, and I'm just grateful for this experience. And honestly, I think it's kind of stupid that in this state that we don't have a Holocaust museum already. I know we have the Anne Frank Museum here, but with the amount of Jewish heritage that we have in this state, I feel like it's almost necessary that we should have this space for these people to remember this event. And I feel like it's really important. And yeah, so this experience definitely touched me. And thank you for watching. This is my sources.